might be a stretch. You probably feel the heat coming off of them.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for being here this evening. We have a very special meeting this evening, so we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
All right. Is this on too? All right, great. Everything's going so smoothly so far. Good evening again, everyone. My name is Melissa Them Peterson. I am the Board of Education President here at Duanesburg. And we're starting our meeting this evening with some recognitions. I want to thank you for joining us as we induct 4 very special people into Duanesburg's Hall of Fame. Before I introduce you to them, I would like to take a minute to let you know how we got to this point, how these 4 superstars were nominated, and ultimately selected to be part of the Hall of Fame's class of 2024. As you probably know, our Hall of Fame was reinvigorated a couple of years ago, and it's now a completely digital initiative. Last September, we held our first induction ceremony where we welcomed DCS alumni Barton McDougall, who I think is here. There he is. Amy Golding Whitbeck, and Nick Gwizdowski, along with former DCS staff members John Conway and the late Brian McGarry and Frank DeMasi, into the Hall of Fame. The annual online nomination process starts in January and continues through the spring. Nominations close on the last day of classes in June. Anyone can fill out a nomination form. The district's Hall of Fame committee meets throughout the summer to sift through nominations and ultimately selects 3 to 4 recipients who meet the criteria to be chosen for the Hall of Fame. Those criteria are, for staff, models characteristics described in the DCS mission statement, providing students of every ability the support, quality instruction, and experiences they need as they strive to fulfill their dreams and aspirations, contributes to the development of the DCS community district priorities, including academic achievement, personal development, facilities and finances, culture, partnerships, and communication. Staff nominations can include current or former staff and retired staff, and nominations can also be made posthumously. DCS alumni nominations should meet 1 or more of the following criteria: connects experience at DCS with what the person has chosen to do with their lives and career, serves as an inspiration to current students, makes students want to aspire to be more, maintains a connection with DCS after they graduate, and brings a sense of pride to DCS, standing out as a DCS graduate. Inductees are informed over the summer and invited to a reception and recognition at the first Board of Education meeting of the new school year, which brings us to tonight. The Duanesburg Hall of Fame induction class of 2024 boasts 4 outstanding people, all of whom graduated from DCS. Lenny Van Buren, Peter Brody, Zachary Harkenrider, and Emma White. I'm going to take some time to introduce you to each of these folks individually. I forgot the certificates, so if you could pass those down to me, I'd appreciate it. I was really close. All right, so first up, we have Mr. Leonard Van Buren. Leonard Van Buren is a 1960 graduate of Duanesburg High School. He has been a resident of the town of Duanesburg since 1955. After graduating from DCS, Mr. Van Buren honorably served in the Air National Guard from 1963 to 1969, where he was a member of the 109th Support Group. He is the former owner and licensed manager of the White Van Buren Funeral Home in Delancey, and he also owned L.M. Van Buren Memorials for over 50 years, from 1969 to 2020. He describes his favorite job of all time, however, to be a bus driver for the Duanesburg Central School District, a job that he held for 45 years, 1964 to 2009. For 35 years, he has served his community through his work as a volunteer with the Delancey Fire Company, where he is a life member and past secretary-treasurer. He is a past director of the Esperance Historical Society and Museum. Mr. Van Buren is also the vice president of the board of directors and past superintendent of the Grove Cemetery Association in Quaker Street. He has been the president of the Duanesburg Historical Society since 2000. We proudly introduce you to Mr. Leonard Van Buren, a Hall of Fame inductee for Duanesburg's class of 2024. Please come up. Please come up, Mr. Van Buren. Please come up.
Same age.
Okay, go ahead.
When Tony Ambrosi stopped, about 2 months ago, I was shocked. To me, the Hall of Fame is for people that have done something important in the area, and I still can't believe it. I don't know. I don't think I deserved it. Only thing, I never left town. I was never in jail, which is a plus, I guess. The school has meant a lot to me. I graduated in 1960. In 1964, I started driving bus part-time, but it ended up 45 years. I wanted 50, but health issues, I couldn't do it. In 1965, a teacher was hired in the elementary school teaching 4th grade, Miss Jewett. Pastors don't mention things tonight. But anyway, that turned my life around. We married the next year. In 1966, we had 2 children, Cale, who's here tonight, with his wife, Courtney Filardi, who was also a graduate of Duanesburg. And my daughter's in Florida. She's a Duanesburg graduate. And my 2 grandsons, I'd like them to stand up. I'm so proud of those guys. Colton, who's 13, and Keen, who's 9. They're great sports players. We follow their games, and they made life great for us. But anyway, thank you for, I want to thank the person who I don't know who it is, who selected my name to begin with. I hope someday I can meet the person and thank them and ask them why me. And I want to thank the board for selecting me from the list that you have. As I look around, it's so different. I only know 2 board members, Ray and Francis. I had Francis on a bus years ago. I won't tell you about his behavior, but I had him on the bus. And Ray's my neighbor now. But anyway, things change. And again, thank you to everybody.
Lenny may not know, but I think the rest of us do know why he was up here today. Okay. Got it. Okay, thank you. All right. Oh my goodness, this is so great. I love this day. So great. All right, our next inductee is Mr. Peter Brody. Peter Brody graduated from Duanesburg High School in 1988. He currently works for Health Research, Inc. as a data manager for the Department of Health. Peter has been an active volunteer his entire life to the benefit of the entire Duanesburg community. He credits the tutelage of many Duanesburg faculty and staff members for instilling his volunteering spirit, including Charlie Benson, Karen Rosasco, Tony Amorosi, Linda McDougall, and Regina Chapin. While in high school at Duanesburg, he volunteered for the American Red Cross, at the Very Special Arts Festival at the Executive Mansion in Albany. He attended the National Young Leaders Conference, and he held numerous leadership roles at DCS, including as the president of Drama Club Duane Players and the editor-in-chief of the Dusquanox. Most of us know Peter from his long-standing membership with the Duanesburg Volunteer Ambulance Corps, an organization he joined as a volunteer in October 1987 as a senior in high school, at the suggestion of Barton and Linda McDougall. He has held many positions within the Corps, including Second Lieutenant Training Officer, President, Chief Operating Officer, and Captain. He was named Chief of the Corps in 2024. During his many, many years of work with the Duanesburg Volunteer Ambulance Corps, Peter has played a part in many different accolades and accomplishments, including the prestigious honor of being selected as the BLS Agency of the Year and personally receiving the Harriet C. Weber Leadership Award. He and his colleagues have put countless hours into the Corps and spent years applying their skills and wisdom into making improvements and upgrades to the Corps and the services that it is able to provide our community. Although he has lived in the area for most of his life, there was a short time during which Peter moved away to work in higher education. During that time, he continued his volunteer work with the Hugh O'Brien Youth Leadership Conferences in Albany, Brockport, Rindge, New Hampshire, and Topeka, Kansas. He also volunteered in administrative support for HOBY conferences and at the World Leadership Congress in Washington, D.C., and at the Muscular Dystrophy Association summer camp with fellow HOBY alumni, where he served as a one-to-one volunteer with a camper. Peter Brody truly epitomizes what it means to give back to your community. We are all grateful for the contributions he has made over the last 30-plus years to Duanesburg Central School District and to our community at large. We proudly introduce you to Mr. Peter Brody, Hall of Fame inductee for Duanesburg's class of 2024.
You know, it's interesting to have heard all of that and sit there and wonder, like, my God, I lead a boring life. But I'm truly honored for the committee that accepted this. And I have amazing classmates to be inducted with. The man who lived down the street and drove the school bus for us, maybe not the bus I rode, but I think my brother did multiple times. But also with an Olympian and a person who does international work. So I'm in quite a group of people who have made an impact from little downtown Duanesburg on the rest of the world. You know, the president spoke about the individuals who inspired me to do this. There were two names left out of that list. There were Charlie Geider and Jim Collins. And let's see if I get them right, Dr. Floyd Davis and Mr. Richard Davis. It's been a while since I've been in their classroom and been corrected. So, you know, but it all started at home too. And thank you. You're welcome.
All right. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, next up, we have Zach Harkenrider. Zach Harkenrider is a career member of the United States Senior Foreign Service. He is a State Department political officer with over 20 years of experience in developing and post-conflict countries with the United States military and key allies. He served as Embassy Tokyo's Counselor for Political Military Affairs from 2021 to 2024. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to move along. Got it. After 2 years of Japanese language training. Prior to Japan, Zach served as political counselor at Embassy London from 2016 to 2019, where he led a team that analyzed British politics and Britain's departure from the European Union and its impact on US political and security equities. He focused particularly on NATO policy and on foreign policy coordination between the US and the UK on South Asia, Russia, and Ukraine. His career has taken him all over the world, with stints in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Islamabad, Sudan, and South Sudan. He started his foreign service career with assignments in Niamey, Niger, and Kolkata, India. After graduating from Duanesburg High School in 1997, Zach attended the University of Rochester, where he studied American history and international relations. In addition to Japanese, Zach also speaks French and Dari, the Afghan dialect of Persian. He is a recipient of the Department of State's James Clement Dunn Award for Excellence in 2016, the Departments of State and Labor's Award for Excellence in Labor Diplomacy in 2007, several Superior and Meritorious Honor Awards, and a Sinclair Award for Excellence in Dari. He enjoys hiking, road trips, art and rare books, and historic architecture. He also maintains a keen interest in New York State history and politics. Thanks to his son, he has recently taken up skiing. Zach is married to his wife, Yukari, a former UN official and Tokyo native, who is a PhD researcher at Cambridge University. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Zach Harkenrider as a Hall of Fame inductee for Duanesburg's class of 2024. Zach couldn't be with us this evening. I understand he's in Pakistan, and I decided we could accept that as a reasonable reason for not being here. But I would like to invite his parents, Greg and Karen Harkenrider, up to the podium to accept Zach's award.
While I am not able to join you in person this evening, I want to express my profound gratitude to the Duanesburg Central School District and the Board of Education for bestowing this honor. For more than 2 decades, I have represented the United States government overseas, advancing American interests and shaping our foreign policy approaches to some of the most difficult challenges we face. I have always regarded the education I received at Duanesburg as an essential foundation for whatever professional success I have enjoyed as an adult. I appreciated Duanesburg's virtues at the time, but I appreciate them all the more from the perspective of adulthood. The virtues of my day still prevail there now. Small class sizes meant that our teachers really knew us and knew how to tailor the teaching to our needs. We enjoyed a real sense of community in a school whose intimate size meant that we were all thrown together regardless of our family backgrounds or interests. We learned how to find common ground and even foster close friendships with classmates from different walks of life and with very different perspectives. I'm pleased to say that friendships I formed then persist still, in spite of the distance in every sense that I have traveled since my school days. Finally, we were fortunate to have some truly inspirational teachers. I particularly recall Mr. Richards, who taught us global history, Mr. Hunt, who taught us economics and social sciences, Mr. Beach and Mr. Benson for English, and Mrs. Spofford, who taught us French. They truly did foster in me a lifelong interest in the subjects they taught, and in which they gave me an excellent foundation for future self-directed learning. Living now in large cities such as Tokyo and London, where parents spend massive amounts of time and money to access schools with small class sizes and excellent personalized teaching for their children, I see how fortunate we all were and how fortunate you all are to have Duanesburg providing those very things to anyone in the community who wishes to have it. So as I appreciate the role the school played in my life, I deeply appreciate the honor of induction into its Hall of Fame. I'm honored to take my place alongside so many distinguished alumni whose achievements in so many varied fields of endeavor attest to the excellent start in life that our school afforded them, the foundation it clearly gave all of us to succeed in whatever walk of life we chose. Thank you.
Okay. Last but certainly not least, we have Miss Emma White. Emma White is a 2015 graduate of Duanesburg Central School. She attended Union College, where she earned a degree in computer science. Besides being an excellent student, Emma also is an Olympic medalist, perhaps the only Olympic medalist to have ever graduated from Duanesburg. She was a member of Team USA, which won the bronze medal in track cycling team pursuit in Tokyo, Japan in 2020. Alongside teammates Chloe Dygert, Megan Jastrub, and Jennifer Valenti, Emma helped Team USA post a time of 4 minutes, 8 seconds in the 4,000-meter race. Germany won gold, and Great Britain took silver that year. Emma has a long history of success in the sport of competitive cycling. Emma was a road cyclist before transitioning to the track to pursue her Olympic dreams. She started cyclocross at the age of 9 and found tremendous success each year at national championships for her age group. She won 2 silver medals at the 2015 UCI Road World Championships, and the following year, officially turned pro in 2016. At age 21, Emma became the youngest rider to win the National Senior Criterium Championship, and then at age 23, she earned the very prestigious Olympic bronze medal. Emma announced her retirement from competition in October 2021 at the age of 24, after taking one final win in the criterium at the Sea Otter Classic in Monterey, California. Emma's journey has been covered thoroughly through local media outlets, given her connection to Duanesburg. On the road to her impressive achievements, she has represented our school and community with dignity, grace, and tremendous pride. She returned to DCS in January of 2022 to meet with students at the junior-senior high school. She answered questions from the crowd, took pictures with students, and even let them try on her bronze medal. She attended that night's basketball game, at which athletic director Katie Wilson surprised Emma and her family with a banner that is hung in the gymnasium, commemorating her impressive performance at the Olympics. Please join me in welcoming Miss Emma White as a Hall of Fame inductee for Duanesburg's class of 2024. She could not be with us this evening, but I would like to invite her mom, Chris White, to the podium to accept on Emma's behalf.
Well, thank you so much for this. It's such a great honor for our family. It has always been, Duanesburg has been a very special place to us. We moved here in 1998, and not knowing what a wonderful district this was, we very quickly learned how much of an impact it was going to have on our family. As we were saying, that my kids, 5 of my kids went through here. 3 of them were cyclists, and they started at a very young age. And the demands on them with traveling and taking time off of school was pretty intense. And it truly does take a village, and we couldn't have done it without the support of the teachers and the administration here. And it has just meant so much to us, and my kids could not have done what they've done. And Emma has just reached heights that she never thought that she would. She loved every bit of it, and she loved her education here. She did go on to graduate from Union College in her degree of science, medicine, and technology. She has a great job working for ZephyrX, which is based in Albany. She lives in Jersey City right now, and she decided to pursue her career after the Olympics. And she has a great job. She has a fiance now, and so she's moved into this next chapter of her life. But she could not be here, but she wanted me to tell you all so much, how much this is such an honor for her. And it just is, she was just amazed that she was even nominated for this. And so thank you all so much. It was just amazing.
All right, that concludes our induction ceremony. We do have to move on to the less riveting part of our meeting. I invite you to stay. However, if you were here for the induction and you would like to take a stride out, we will understand. So we'll give you a couple. Yes, please take cookies on the way out.
Thank you all.
All right. I think we will move on again to the less riveting part of our meeting. Before we do that, though, I did want to also acknowledge that our past Board of Education member, John Miller, passed away on August 27th last month. So just want to send our condolences to his family and thank him for his service to our district and our community. Our next item is a discussion of the agenda. Any changes, Celeste? Any questions or concerns from the board? All right. Then we will resolve upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education approve the agenda for the regular meeting. May I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Francis. A second? Oh, Avis beat you to it. Okay. Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Celeste, did we have anyone sign up for public comment today? Okay. I'll move through that. All right, next. Board of Education minutes. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education approved the minutes of the regular meeting on August 27th, 2024. May I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Ray. A second? Thank you, Sarah. Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. We will move to our first presentation and report, which is from a Miss Lucy Spohr. Yes? Are we doing it? Where is Lucy?
Over there.
Come on up, Lucy.
So, okay. I am Lucy Spohr. I'm a member of Girl Scout Troop 2121. And I have to present to the board my centennial mural made for my Girl Scout Silver Award. The Silver Award is a Girl Scout's way to give back to the community. It's one of the highest awards a Girl Scout can ever earn. I previously earned my Bronze Award, which is also in collaboration with the school. To celebrate the centennial, I've painted a mural showing 3 eras of the school's buildings and constructions. And just quickly, I'll show what it is. It's over there on the left. Yeah, the right. I'm good. So in my first, this is not 100 years old. This doesn't exist anymore, and there's no lasting pictures, but of the Toad Hollow Schoolhouse, which was DeLanson's previous name. Pictured is the schoolhouse in Quaker Street, but I used it as inspiration. Next is the building now turning 100 years old in 2025. Originally constructed in 1925, we still use this building today, which is quite impressive. You know, this building was impressive for its time and still is today. And then now is our not most recent, but our current main entrance, built in 2000. This, is really the staple of the school now, and it's what everyone sees and how they enter their school day. I've learned so much through this project, through the history of the school, and Girl Scouts is really an amazing program for girls to be able to reach out and learn and grow through their community. And I think it's such a way to give back and really show others that you care. And then I'd like to thank, just some thank yous, Mrs. Pat Van Buren and the Duanesburg Historical Society for providing me with pictures, local details, and access to their archives. Ms. Kimberly Ross, the DCS Board of Education, and Anna Anderson for working with me to make sure my project will have a place and honor in the school. Ms. Colleen Lowry for co-leading my troop and working with me to make sure my paperwork is complete, and for leading me through Girl Scouts all these years. And my mother, Samantha Spoor, for also leading my troop, helping to drive my love of Girl Scouts, and supporting me through all of my endeavors. Thank you all.
So this was a labor of love for Lucy. It's beautiful. Started off with an idea, I think it was early July, submitted some plans and filled out a building modification form about how she wanted to celebrate 100 years, the centennial, and her pride in her community and her district. So Lucy, it's beautiful. Thank you.
And where will folks be able to see this beautiful mural? It will be on display in the junior, senior high school, yes?
Yes. Anand mentioned, I forgot where he said he wanted to hang it, where he had a good spot for it.
Do you know?
I can't.
Last I heard it was the music hall.
Oh, the
The music hall way.
Music
Okay.
hall?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
In between band and chorus in the music hall. So if you want to
Yeah.
see it in its glory, that's where it's going to be as of hopefully this week.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Lucy. Great job. Okay. Moving on to our superintendent's report, Ms. Ross.
Okay, so I don't want to be forgetful. I want to, on the agenda, you're going to see that our school psychologist, that Laurel has submitted her resignation. I wanted to publicly thank her for her 16 years of service to the district. It came with a very heavy heart. She was provided an opportunity to lead a new initiative in another district. There was a lot of tears when she had to make the decision, and we're incredibly grateful for all her time here. But it is an opportunity in the second half of her career to grow and try something new. So we are actively searching school to replace her position. We're going to miss her. So thank you, Laurel.
My son has told me I have to reject.
I know. I know.
her
You're going to make the leadership
resignation.
team cry. So we're going to keep it short because there's been a lot of tears. With that being said, I want to welcome Miss Rachel Lebo. She is joining us as our first grade teacher. Rachel comes to us from the charter school world with 10 years of experience. She's actually had most experience 5 years in first grade, but she also taught 4th and 5th grade. She's reading, she's special ed certified. We were really impressed with her confidence and her knowledge of literacy and math and interventions. She is an outdoorsy person, so she was kind of fun to talk to, the things that she does with the hiking and all that. When we had orientation here last week, students were coming for pre-KK, and there were some of our first graders who were nervous because she was new. And she welcomed them, even though they didn't need to. She sat in her classroom, welcomed families to introduce herself, and she started off great, and she's a nice addition to our family. Opening days went really, really well. If you were to chat with some staff, at least I think it did, unless, I've been told something differently. We the leadership team wanted to make sure the vibe was a vibe of joy and support. We didn't want it to be 2 days of us talking at them, PowerPoint presentations. I know, being a teacher, that you're really stressed about getting your classroom ready and having things ready to go. So we really wanted to make sure there was a lot of support. We had a phenomenal keynote speaker where staff came back and a lot of tears of feeling connected to the keynote speaker. It was a great way to kick off the school year. I had numerous people afterwards saying that they haven't had such a great few opening days in years. So they had time in their classrooms, time with each other, and then I made them do activities with each other. The consensus was from May and June is that the two buildings felt like so disconnected from each other. They didn't know each other. They didn't know staff from the other building. So really doing those icebreaker activities. There was a little at first resistance, like what are we doing? But then there was a lot of laughter in the room. So it went off really well. And the mantra that I try to emphasize to all staff that, you know, the year is focusing on coming together. We're one district, we're one team, and we're one family. Emphasizing that over and over and over again, making sure that our colleagues know each other. And for example, I just had a meeting earlier today bringing together our partnerships like the music and the foundation, Booster Club, PTA, making sure that we are all rowing in the same direction and doing things that are what's best for kids. So the meeting went really well. We're very excited. More details to come, but one of the things in this vein of one district, one team, we're going to plan a golf tournament for the community next year, fall of next year, where we can have our kiddos involved. And with that being said, the on opening day with our students went smoothly. I briefly met with each of the secondary grade levels, and one of the expectations for extracurricular groups, so if they fundraise, that they are expected to give back to their community at least twice. So once in the fall, once in the spring. So my mindset is that, you know, our kids do a lot of fundraising, we tax our community, and it's really important that they give back and feel connected. And I said to them, you know, lots of times we hear this saying all the time, you know, these kids today, right? These kids today, this is an opportunity for them to do great things in the community, and so the community to see our students as pride in the community, pride in their school, and giving back. So they've been brainstorming how they could give back, from anything from free car washes to Veterans Day or seniors. So I'm glad they're going to hit the ground running and knowing that they want to serve their community as well. Minimal hiccups with opening day. There's always some, right? Trying to work through, is the child on the right bus, or do we have the right bus number? We had to condense bus runs because of the lack of bus drivers, but overall, it went very smoothly. You know, thank you to Buildings and Grounds, thank you to Transportation, thank you to the leadership team, thank you to the teachers. It's been really smooth. Jeff's going to talk a little bit about the capital project. The leaders are here at the opening meeting. They're going to talk about some data they're going to share. I just want to emphasize that the data that we're going to share it's considered embargoed for distribution until the state finalizes the numbers, meaning we can talk about it in open session, we can share it, but we can't hand out like paper copies, or we can't send it to parents because the state hasn't officially verified it. But they said, you know, they semi-lifted the embargo. But I know the board, it's important to know how our kids did on our 3 through 8 assessments, our Regents exams. So they've created a little presentation for you as well. That's it.
Well, thank you, Kim. Anyone have any questions? Okay. Our next report is from Mr. Rivenberg.
Okay, so just a little update. The capital project, we're still expecting the playground equipment this month. And installation crews we should see people this month also on site, starting to get that all prepped and get it ready for installation as soon as that arrives. Also, as a part of our phase 1 project, because we shifted from the elementary school roofing to the high school, you'll notice that some of the roofing is actually in the back parking lot here. They are intending on installing that this fall. We would like to try and get them moving along. The tests, we were waiting on some tests that came back that are okay, and we are good to go. We didn't have time to get that on the agenda for tonight, so we can either do it in one of 2 ways. Is that we can update this high school roof. It's going to be $856,311. Now, this is not a change or any increase to the capital project. This is simply in the budget of the capital project. It's just that we're shifting some of our work from the elementary school to the high school for this first phase, and then next summer we will go back to the elementary school and do what was remaining. So we can either propose to the board the next time to either do a around 64-page contract or a simple like 1 or 2 page change order to just update what we already have existing with the existing company. So I think in the ease of looking at it, it probably makes sense to do a change order. However, a change order it's a pretty large change order that we're asking for, but the reality is it's no addition to the capital project. Um, uh, though we do need to get them going and get them started. So in order to make this work, we either have to call another board meeting or issue a letter of intent from the superintendent stating that we would like to get this work started. So I'd like to have board input first. I don't know if Kim, if you want to say anything, but
Yeah, so we just want to emphasize this is not in addition. So it's basically within the capital project that was, the scope was voted on. And then it's just a shift, and this was going to happen next summer, sorry, next summer. But because there's a little bit of delay with the playground, we're like, well, why don't we, while the weather's still good, get started on this piece of it? But normally, in any capital project, we would just do a change order. We'd sign off on it, and we talked about it. This is a large number, over 800,000. Not that it's adding to it or taking away, but we want to be transparent. We want the board to know, like, okay, if we can do the contract, which would, or we could just do the change order so that they can get started now, and then it just takes away from the work that we were going to do next summer. Does that make sense?
Can I ask
Sure.
a question? So we're switching from doing the elementary roof first to now the high school roof first. Am I clear on that?
so a large portion of the elementary roof got done over the summer.
Okay.
There was a portion over the music area and the cafeteria where they had to revisit some structural drawings and all that, just to make sure that they're getting all of the structure in there correctly before they start putting a roof on.
And we wanted them to do some
yeah.
additional testing
So-
in those areas to make sure before they put a new roof on. We weren't sure. We weren't sure like why it was more humid in those rooms, and we're like, well, we got the roof off. Let's test. Right? If we got it open, we might as well go in and look. And then they looked, and I think they figured out what the reason was. But so they're going to kind of pivot with just those sections. And so that will just get moved so they can correct it in those 2 areas. Will be next summer. And then we still have nice weather. We want to get ahead of the second part of the project.
So we're pausing the elementary roof to pivot and do the high school roof
Yep.
Yes.
because we have underlying issues at the elementary school
That they're going to correct,
that
yeah.
they're going to. Okay, so do we have 2 teams working on this then, or do we have enough manpower? I guess is what I'm wondering, because it looks like now we're opening up 2 buildings instead of working all of our efforts on
Oh, yeah.
the
No,
one.
so it's the same team, and we always had this project. We always had intentions of being able to do some of the high school this fall as a part of that project.
Okay.
It's just that because of the fact that they backed off of that section over by the music area, it's going to give them the ability to do a little bit more in the high school. And I'm sure that the high school will be very thankful, because we're actually going to try to address, hopefully before the snow flies, those sections that we've always seen buckets in the back hallway. So I'm sure that Mrs. Marvin will be very impressed. I'm very happy with that, that scenario. So the scope of the work that we plan on doing with this with that portion is over the or couple of the larger areas would be the gymnasium, the library, and that back hallway of the high school. And then there's a small portion by the entrance area of the high school as well. It's funny, if you look at the sky view of the high school, there's more roof sections than you would even imagine, right? So,
Yeah. And it's the same crew that won the bid, the contract. So it's their manpower.
Okay, thank you
Yeah.
for clarifying.
What did they do to the elementary school roof after they took it apart and found that we needed to do some stuff? And now we're not going to finish fixing it till next year.
So they didn't necessarily tear it apart. What they do is they do like core samples, and then once they take a core sample, then they'll put a core plug back in and then seal it over. So yeah.
So they're good and dry.
Yeah,
They're
so
good
we
and
don't
dry
have
till
like a
next
big
year.
hole.
Until
Yeah,
next year.
there's
Got
Yeah,
it.
I'm sorry.
not like they
I
left
don't
a
want to
big-
paint this picture like it's wide open to the
I
elements.
knew it wasn't, but I just wanted to make sure.
we didn't get new skylights.
I should have said that why we had the experts on the roof. That was the time for them to do it, as opposed to, boy, we'd kick ourselves if they did it and then they had to go back and redo it. So it actually worked out perfect timing. So the roofing experts were there. We're like, hey, we noticed this. While you're here, can you? It's almost like a doctor doing surgery on your appendix, but can you look at my foot, right? So, yeah, so they figured it out, which is a great thing because I know Ms. Conover and Mary Claire had said, like, we don't know what the reason is. At first, we thought it was the floor from a capital project from years ago, and then we realized, no, it's not the floor. So Anand was really on top of it, and he was all about making sure we figured it out while we were in there. So it'll be resolved.
Did you have a question? Do we have to wait till the next meeting? Or we have to
We-
call a
well, so-
meeting, or is there something that we could do tonight if everyone is agreeable, or is that something we need to table
I
until?
can, as superintendent, do a change order. That's within my purview. If the board was concerned, then we could go the contract route, and then it would have to be the October meeting, because contracts go through you guys. But with such a large number, and I would never want the board to be like, well, that's a huge change order. We wanted to make sure we talked to you first before any, the easy solution is for me to do the change order. But if you guys prefer to wait the month, and then we can have them drop that contract.
Then they wouldn't start until after that meeting, correct?
Correct.
So
Okay.
we really would like to get them
Yeah.
moving along.
And winter's coming.
Right.
But
Yes.
the change order is really just moving funds we'd spend next year
To this year.
to this year.
Mhm.
Which it's still there already.
It's
It's
still
still
there.
there, it's
There's
still
no
paid
cha- yeah,
for, or it's
yeah.
still allocated
Yeah, and
for.
Jeff and I talked about it. He said he'll make sure that the change order is very clear, and I can have Aaron look at it to make sure, to double check, that we don't want to get caught where there's like a hiccup, like these funds that were allocated for next summer are not in addition, it is just being dispensed now, so that,
Right.
we talked about it today, we're like, yeah, we want to make sure that's clear, and we can ask Aaron Morris to take the lawyer, to take a look at it, make sure that it's tight that way.
I think that sounds like a good idea.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, everybody okay with the change order? Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Okay.
all right.
let's do that.
Great.
And we'll
Anything
let
else?
you know if there's a hiccup.
Anything else, Jeff?
I have nothing else.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you very much for that. Next, we have administrator updates. Welcome, ladies. Thank you for being here.
So while Andrea gets us up and running here, because we do have a little presentation, we did want to thank, as the administrative team, we wanted to thank the board for coming out and serving the hot dogs and the lunch to the staff. I've been here for 10 years. Andrea's been here for 14 years. 14? Yes. 14 years. And I've never had a board member, they used to do breakfast, but we've never had a board member come out during our teacher day and cook and serve. And so we wanted to thank you guys for doing that. It really,
And clean.
our teachers were really impressed with that. And we also wanted to give a shout out to Kim, our superintendent, because she texted us all on Monday while she was home cooking, and we were not. So she did make all of the salads and stuff, so we appreciate that. And we do have 2 code authentication system for the administrators, so Andrea is diligently
That's good
trying.
to see. I'm happy to see that.
I think we're the only ones in the district that have that. I don't know if Jeff and Kim do, but
No.
but we do. So
You absolutely should.
yes, and Danielle will introduce herself.
Kinda get her
I
out
know
there
I might be a
SMS.
new face for some of you in the room here. I'm the Director of Special Education, Danielle Schneibel. This is my 2nd year in the role as Director. I'm also the Committee on Preschool and the Committee on School Age Chairperson for Special Education. So it's a pleasure to see everybody. I know I did a presentation a couple of years ago to a group, but I do see that there are some new faces. So I just wanted to make sure I took a moment to introduce myself and just say how what a pleasure it is to be here tonight and working with a fantastic team here. It's been a great start to the school year, and I'm looking forward to an absolutely wonderful year.
The service here is not that great in the auditorium. This is when we should have that Jeopardy music going. Sorry. You. Like you do have it. I do. You don't even know it.
I think our students are busting at the seams, ready to jump in and want to help us.
Now I got it.
I know this is not a popular saying, but this is the country girl. I always say there's more than one way to skin
All right, so Kim had asked us on Friday evening if we would put together a presentation just to kind of share some of our data, because I know there's a lot of questions as to where we are academically. So what we did was we went on to Tableau, which is a state website that we can look at all of our scores. And we wanted to show you our core courses that we have that have Regents scores. So the first one that I'm showing you is the science. And it's all of our sciences. I didn't want to take one teacher, one course, because I have one teacher that teaches only one course. So I wanted to show you all of the sciences. There's a couple things that I kind of just want to point out, because you're probably looking at this going, holy tamale. Like in 2019, our kids did well, but then they dropped in 2020. But if you remember, we had the pandemic. So for 2020, our kids did not take a Regents exam. And then you'll also notice that 2021 is not on that. That's because the state actually didn't even say you could take the Regents exam. So we have 2 years in there. And then from the year 2022, 2023, and right up until this school year, any student who received a 65 to a 50, we were able to give them a waiver because of the pandemic, and they were considered passing. So the first authentic score that you're going to see from the pandemic is this school year, the 2024. So that I would compare really over to the 2019 numbers. So I know it looks like it's a little bit of a decrease, but this is science overall. We did have to, kind of teach our kids to come back in and take Regents and sit down and do labs and get them done. So, so that's what you'll see for the science. Do you guys know how to scroll down? And then the next one that I have up there is ELA. And go back. There you go. And so again, the same information, except just so that you understand, that score that you see all the way down at the bottom for 2024, this year we actually had our students take the Regents exam in January. So they only took half of the course because it was something that we had done previously prior to COVID, and our kids typically did well. It's one of those Regents exams that everybody needs to pass in order to graduate. As a junior, you have a number of Regents exams. This one, the state kind of changed the requirements. So we were having our kids take it both in January. If they didn't pass, they would have another opportunity to take it in June. So right now, this is the only thing that's showing on here is the January Regents. So it does look like our kids didn't do as well as they did back in 2019, but we didn't take the Regents exam. The score that you're seeing in 2019, that wasn't a January test. So, we did make some alterations this year with our ELA. We actually got a new program for the middle school, and which I think is going to help build up with the writing components that we really need our kids to focus on. So I'm encouraged that we're going to see our scores go back up next year, but this year it just didn't happen because of when we gave the test. And again, remember, this is the very first time that the kids were not able to have a waiver. So the kids that sat in that January Regents, I think they came in with the mindset, if I get at least a 50, I'm going to pass. No matter how many times we told them that was not the case, I do not think that they believed us until they saw the Regents and then had to retake the test in June. The math, I actually was really happy when I looked at the math, the same information as before. But if you look at this past school year overall, our kids actually did fairly well back in, we're getting our math scores back up to where we need them to be. I believe that, we've definitely had a learning curve to get our kids back into, you need to do homework, you need to sit down, you need to be quiet, you need to put your cell phones away. But our curve is definitely going back up for that one. And then the final one that I wanted to show you. Well, I have another one, but the global one, again, when you look at it, you'll see that our score in 2019 was really high and then down in 2024. In between that 2019 and 2024, the state introduced a new test. They did that to us in global and they did that to us in US history. So we were able to kind of start working on the new test, but we didn't really roll the test out, and then COVID hit and everything kind of went wonky. And so, our kids actually had the first really time of sitting with the new test. And so they changed it to now it's a lot of enduring issues and the whole writing component, which kind of falls along with our English, which is why we get a new writing program. So our kids actually did well, I believe, in the global. It's just, again, that we didn't have that curve anymore. And then you're going to see the same thing with U.S. history. That looks like we really tanked, but that's because, and you guys might not remember this, but when the new test was supposed to roll out, a couple days before the test was to be administered, the state canceled it because they had something that was viewed as inappropriate on the test. And so our kids didn't take the test. And so you kind of see us go way down. And then the first time they took that particular test was just in 2024. So, I mean, like, took it for real without it being a waiver or curved, or it was just an authentic test. So I do anticipate seeing our U.S. history and our global scores going back up once we kind of settle back into the material. So, any questions on the Regents exams?
I have a question, Jody. Would you, and maybe you don't know the answer to this, but I'm curious if our graph looks similar to the state overall, right?
It
Is
does.
this happening everywhere?
I did
Okay.
not print that. I probably should have done that. I'm sure that we could have gotten something compared to the RIC.
I'll take your word for it, but I just,
Right.
it's not Dwaynesburg that did, this is every student
Absolutely
everywhere.
not.
Okay.
Actually, I would waver to say, I bet to say, that our scores are probably better than other districts, and that's only from me talking to other administrators who were very quick to say, well, we didn't do well on this test, or we didn't do well on this test, or our chemistry test, our kids did really well, and every administrator that I knew said, our kids tanked in chemistry, and I was like, really? Because we didn't. So.
Thank you.
I can verify that across the board, 3 through 8 in Regents exams, the charts that you're talking about, Dwaynesburg was slightly above the state and the region.
Right.
So Dwaynesburg is one of the higher performing districts across the state. So they do provide like bar graphs in comparison.
We just didn't print it, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I know I've said this to the board in the past that, it's, through Tableau, they'll do comparative data, and we are, if we don't match the state, we're slightly above them.
Just wanted to make sure that we knew that, right? Because
Absolutely.
you're explaining, what happened for our kids,
Right.
which we really need to know, but also just to put it in context.
Right, it didn't just
is
happen to
helpful.
us. This
Right.
happened to everybody.
To everyone. And we're still doing pretty darn good.
And we actually are doing, our kids are doing really well. Danielle's going to show our special education population. So you'll see that our teachers do a phenomenal job with our kids and going above and beyond for that. You're welcome.
Thank you, Jody. So I wanted to show some data, and I'm going to move over here because I feel like I can't see the board members over here for enrollment and classification rate data. So on the state ed site, the most recent data that's been available is the 22-23 data, which I think we're going to find is pretty consistent with our current data as well. But as you can see on our graph, we had that enrollment on the left. Our enrollment trend has been decreasing, and then around, and I'm sorry, I can't see that far down I should have brought my reading glasses. They're like Coke bottles. So around 2021 to 2022 is when we started to see a bit of an increase in our enrollment. And if you look at the graph on the right, what you're also going to see is a little bit of increase in our classification rate. However, that does stay directly in line with our enrollment rate. So overall, our percentage was around 11.7%. In comparison to the region and the rest of the state, we are actually doing much better when it comes to our classification rate. We are keeping it nice and low under that 13%. And I know a lot of districts right now are really struggling to monitor that, to keep that, you know, at a decent rate. I feel like we have been very preventative and proactive in our elementary school. I know from a preschool perspective, working with Schenectady County, there's just been such a collective effort of our children with special needs in Schenectady County, our coordinator, the case managers, early intervention. You know, we've been working really, really hard together to make sure that we're getting children access to services as best as possible. Another thing I wanted to make sure that the board was aware of is our preschool aged students with disabilities and that classification rate as well. So I know that when I spoke I think it was a year or two ago, we talked about how those referrals, we were seeing an increase post-pandemic of our referrals to the Committee on Preschool Special Education. Right now, what we're seeing is that those numbers have doubled, if not tripled. And part of that is because of the isolationism that occurred. We are now getting those infants, right, that didn't have all of those exposures now transitioning up to our preschool aged. We also have a number of families that may not have sought that prenatal care during the pandemic, which was really critical at that time. So what I'm really grateful for is that continued collaboration with the county, and that we are making sure that all of our students, you know, we're doing the child find, we're locating those students that need those supports. Not only that, but as a district, we don't have any preschool aged students waiting for services. We have a 0 student wait list, and I could speak to a lot of other schools with districts within our county, and that is not the case. There are wait lists very, very long for those services. So I think we've done a really great job of finding those resources, getting those kiddos those supports. But we also have to acknowledge that those kiddos are now going to be transitioning right up into kindergarten in the next school year. And so we're going to be looking at how we're supporting them in the elementary school as those numbers begin to shift upwards. Thank you. Any questions on that before I move on to the next? Okay. So here are some of the results of our students with disabilities breakdown of regions. As you can see, we are still doing fairly well. I'm really proud of what our teachers and our administrative and our leadership team is doing to support our students with disabilities. We could see that there has been a slight decline recently. Last year, we started to recognize some challenges with the reading and writing. So we began piloting a Tier 3 reading intervention called Really Great Reading. And this year, we are providing specially designed reading instruction to our students with disabilities in need of those Tier 3 reading services. And so I'm really excited to see, with a full year implementation of the program, how our students begin to take that and transfer it into and across really all the curricular areas. And then lastly, you know, I just wanted to focus on math and ELA for the purpose of today's meeting. But as you can see, just as the trend with the entire district, we are trending upwards with our math. So I really think that the supports that have been put in place to support all of our students, not just our students with disabilities, can really be acknowledged here as we see an increase in the number of students that are proficient in math. Any questions?
And that increase, just to remind you, her increase that you're seeing there, which is really great for special education, is the first time that they have not had that waiver. So those kids actually had to pass the Regents exam. They weren't just given a pass because they got a 50. So.
Any questions? Okay.
This is an all-encompassing graph of grades 3 through 8. This is our ELA, and as I'm not going to rehash and repeat, but we can see what happened in 2019. Then if you notice, there's no 2020. We did not take the test. We were all home, hunkering down. Then came 2021, and that is a very misleading spike. The test that we were given that year would, for the easiest way to put it, was watered down. What used to be a 3-day phenomenon went down to a day and a half, and actually they were using practice questions that were out for the community to, anybody could have looked at those practice questions and used them, and the kids were going, oh, this looks familiar. Like, oh, okay, good. And then we also, believe it, we moved away from Common Core to what was called the Next Gen Standards 3 through 8. So although you might see a dip, again, we had a change in testing protocols. We went from 3 days to 2, and that is showing here. But also you will see on the left, you will see on the right that we do start to come back up out of it. And as Kim had spoke before, although those numbers you kind of go, oof, but we're doing really good. If we had presented you with how we compare to the region where we are, we're either above it or at it. We do outperform quite a few in this, when you look at us as a whole, 3 through 8. And then we could look at individual grades as well.
And to see the increase from 2023 to 2024, we actually implemented district-wide, or 3-8, computer-based testing. So we weren't really sure how that was going to go. So when I see that we actually increased last year on our second year of doing it, that does speak volumes to where we were, because it can be a little tricky using computer, like they are doing math on a computer with a stylus. That's how the state has set it up. So we had to teach them how to go in and do math computations, because they're not allowed to have all of the resources that they used to have. So to see that increase in ELA was pretty impressive.
It's a lot of typing they did too.
A lot of typing.
So,
especially for the littles.
And this, again, was 3 through 8. And one of the other things that we had moved to, we moved from an RTI model, we moved to an MTSS model, which we looked more globally and more at standards and more at the impact of mental health. We looked at the impact of attendance. We looked at that whole child, and that brought us to better interventions and better classroom interventions as opposed to pull-out as well. And again, you see the same thing with the data. There's no 2020. Because for some reason they did not put that one in there. So, but 2021, and then again, it's kind of phenomenal to see that when we put them on the computer, which, you know, I said, geez Louise, I am not doing that. So they put a gun to my head, and they put a gun to our head last year, and we had to do it. And I'm very impressed with how well the students adapted to that kind of intensity on a computer-based test. And they did well, considering. And again, these are all scores where, should we show you comparatively to the RIC or the Capital Region, you would see that we are really, we're on an uphill climb and we're doing well. Brand new this last year, you probably heard about it, is science, the new science exam. We used to take it in 4th grade, and then we skipped a year and we gave it in 5th grade this year. I say this year, excuse me, last spring. It had been the same test for, gosh, 20 some odd years. We were giving the same science test. It hadn't changed until the new standards came up. And in their infinite wisdom, they always assume that when you're in 8th grade that you've had this instruction that met the standards that just came out your whole career. So you don't have that cumulative knowledge. So again, but if you look at how we did comparatively, we still did very well within the region and within our RIC. But yes, that's the first time we've taken the new Next Gen in 5th grade and in 8th grade, not 4th grade. So I'm actually kind of pleased. I know you're like, oh, oof, but I am. We haven't had a chance to dive into the standards yet with our MTSS team and with our coordinators to see, okay, where are our standards? What are we missing? What didn't we do good on? But I feel once we start diving in this year, we're going to just project right up. Any questions? All right. Kim, I'm just going to close you right out. Yep. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I know I certainly appreciate being able to see how our students are doing, and you know, year over year, but also among the other districts in the region. So thank you for taking the time to put that together and coming to present it to us. I really appreciate it.
Me too.
All right. We're going to move to the next part of the meeting. All right, this is very exciting stuff. Financial reports. All right, recommendation, resolved based upon the recommendation of the student and superintendent that the Board of Education approve the following financial report as submitted. This first report is the ECA report ending August 31st, 2024. May I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Lissa. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Avis. Comments or questions? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, next financial item, resolved based upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education approved the contract between Duanesburg Central School District and Ortho New York for 2024-2025 school year. This agreement shall not be binding on the parties until authorized and signed by each party's respective representatives. May I have a motion?
A motion.
Thank you, Francis. A second? Thank you, Sarah. Comments or questions? Is this the PT that comes in? Cool. It's great service.
It's for the football and for, I think, for soccer, a couple of others.
Anyone,
Yeah,
right?
anyone
Yeah.
anyone else.
Right.
Excellent. All right. Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Next item, personnel, accept resignations. Recommendation that the Board of Education accept the resignation of Casey Lawyer, full-time evening cleaner, effective August 19th, Valerie Camiso, 1-1 aide, effective June 26th, and Laurel Hallberg, school psychologist, effective October 6th, 2024. May I have a motion? Thank you, Sarah. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Francis. Comments or questions?
I'd just like to say, I know Mrs. Hallberg, and she has affected, my son's life in a huge way, and I just appreciate, all that she's done, and I know she continued to do with other students. She will definitely be missed, and I'm sorry to see her go, but I understand, bigger things.
I second Avis.
Yes, I agree with everything Avis said.
She's wonderful, and we will miss her tremendously. And that would explain why she was not in her normal upbeat mood when I saw her the other day in the office. Yeah. All right. All in favor, reluctantly?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
My son's opposed.
Okay. Henry is opposed.
Henry is
Be it
opposed.
recorded.
He is left,
All right.
but he is opposed.
All right. Next item, resolved based on the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education approved the submitted list of non-instructional appointments. ECA appointments are for the applicable 2024-2025 school year and sports season, beginning with preseason practice and ending at the conclusion of the season, including sectional play. All appointments are employees at will, and the appointments at this time do not guarantee employment for the entire school season term or year. Those appointments are as listed. May I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Lissa. A second? Thank you, Ray. Comments or questions?
I just have a quick question. I noticed all but 2 of them have like a rate or a stipend on them. Just curious, was that?
We don't pay volunteers.
Well, I mean, elementary substitute.
School substitute is based on the substitutes and other rates that was approved on July 2nd.
Okay,
So
all
that
right. I
one's
just was
already got,
curious
yeah,
why
that's okay.
that
So
was.
that,
Okay.
that just goes along with the same thing that we've already done.
All right,
So,
very good. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Last personnel item? Yes. All right. Resolved based upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education approve the appointment of Rachel Lebo as a probationary 4-year Common Branch elementary teacher, tenure track, starting September 1st, 2024. School year at step 11 of the DTA contract salary of $58,946. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Ray. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Lissa. Comments or questions?
It's always exciting to have a new
Yes.
teacher.
Welcome, Miss Lebo.
Mm-hmm.
Very.
Where's she coming from? Is she local? Did she move here?
She lives in, she is local.
Yeah.
She, like I said, she taught at, I'm sorry. She taught at KIPP Academy for 10 years.
Where?
KIPP Academy, it's a charter school. And she lives in like Slingerlands area, Altamont, Slingerlands, so she's local.
Okay. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, next item for pupil services. Recommendation that the Board of Education accept the recommendation of the CSE meeting and their minutes from the August 29th, 2024 meeting as submitted. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Avis. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Sarah. Comments or questions? This is the shortest CSE list
This
we've
is
had
really,
in
really.
ages. It was only one.
Get back to work.
Yes.
What are you doing?
What are you doing over there, Daniel? All right, any other comments or questions? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. All right. At this time, we are going to an executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel. We do not intend to return to the open meeting, so I will do a motion to move to executive session, and I will thank everyone for being here. Thank you, students that stayed for the whole meeting. Extra credit, Mrs. Marvin, extra credit for these two.
If there are cookies, you may have them.
If there are cookies, take them on your way out. Right. All right, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Do I have a motion to go to executive session, please?
Motion.
Who was that?
Motion.
Avis, thank you. A second? Thank you, Sarah. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Good. All right, we will not be back. Oh, it was from Celeste. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Thanks. Bye, guys. See you tomorrow. Thank you. I got to run down. Are we going to do it here? Do you guys want to do it here, or do you want to go downstairs? He wants to go to. JR over here. JR Ewing wants to go downstairs. He loves it when I do call him JR Ewing. We're going downstairs. Okay. I got to make copies of that one thing. Will you let them in? I forgot to make copies of something. Do you have copies of? I think she did.
No.
Will you
I
send
think
me
you're
out?
still in the browser.